Hey everybody, so this is just going to be a little update on Intel stock, which really fell today. So the stock dropped a lot, and I think it's a total overreaction from investors, just due to Intel losing a bit of sales and a little bit of market share in a couple of different segments. But overall, their earnings, what they were expected to earn, they actually beat it by a little bit. And overall, they increased their revenues by 5% and the stock drops 11%. That seems a little bit fishy, so I'm just going to let Pat Gelsinger explain. He's the CEO of Intel. He's just being questioned right now today about where Intel is going to go into the future and a little bit about the stock tanking. So I'll let him talk about why I'm invested in Intel, and I actually purchased more today since it dropped, because honestly, the stock dropping today made me so excited. I was so happy to buy more shares of Intel.
Leadership products will lead to leadership pricing, will lead to leadership margins over time. Right now, you're targeting 51 to 53% gross margin. Does that start to change with products like Alder Lake, which, in the leaked benchmarks, seem to be pretty competitive?
Yeah, thanks, John, and always great to join you guys on the show. And, what we laid out yesterday was a clear picture of the future of Intel, where this is a pivot point. And with transparency, we chose to be very direct to the market and give them that view of the financial guidelines in terms of CapEx, free cash flow, and margins. And we're making investments aggressively to build out our capital base. We've underinvested in the past. We have a growing market, and we're committed to leadership. We're also making the investments to build these new business areas. And we're starting to see the seeds of those benefits start to come to sprout. And, the comment on Alder Lake, John, is a great example. We'll be talking more about this next week at our big innovation conference. And the product is looking great, already in production. And we expect that to be one example of how we gain back leadership, gain back market share, have the capacity, and have the best products, which give us the best pricing potential in the future.
So here's Pat Gelsinger just giving a great update on their new product, Alder Lake, which is their 12th generation CPUs. So far, it hasn't released yet, but they are going to be announcing it next week. And they're just going to be talking about it and how it's shaping up to be a really competitive product, which is really good because honestly, Intel has not been trying at all to be competitive or to be, pushing semiconductor technology forward for the last 10 years. So this is actually the first new design since Skylake, which was the 6th generation. So pretty exciting stuff to see what that can do. And we'll continue with the interview here.
Part of the trouble here, I think, with the stock, and we heard this on the call last night, is what you're attempting, kind of gutsy and unprecedented, though, arguably technically possible, but you're promising to do multiple things that Intel's never been able to pull off before. You're talking about these process technology leaps over the next 4 years. You're talking about scaling foundry where Intel couldn't do that before. You're talking about rethinking the way you do design, packaging, and outsourcing. How much wiggle room is there for error and for external shocks that you don't anticipate, since all these things are tied together? Is this the sort of thing where anything could sort of derail this plan?
Well, we feel very confident in the plan, or we wouldn't have laid it out. And, as you've known from my prior CEO role at VMware, I'm a beat raise kind of guy. And we've laid out a plan that we think is clear, executable. We're making the investments in it. And, just one example, John, if we were here 8 months ago, right, and we would have said that Intel 10 is healthy, Intel 7 is in production, Intel 4 is looking good, we're ahead of schedule on Intel 3, Intel 20A, and Intel 18A, our next 5 process nodes, that they were all on or ahead of schedule, you wouldn't have believed it. But it's true. We're demonstrating exactly what we're saying that we're going to go do. And just at the process technology, wow, that's a lot of progress in a short period of time. Killer new products like Alder Lake, Sapphire Rapids, our new server product coming in Q1. Next week, a bushel of innovation that we'll be rolling out at our big conference. So yeah, the momentum is building. We've clearly laid out a plan that we believe is executable. Aggressive, of course, but this is a great company with great capacity, and I'm committed to make this plan come true, and we're going to have a string of great successes in our future. We've laid out a clear picture to the street of what to expect over time, and today, never like to see the stock go down, but I feel great because now everybody knows what the plan is, and we're focused to make it happen.
And I also feel great about it because I got to get more shares at a lower price. So, as you can see, the reasons why I invested in the company are the CEO. He has a clear plan for the future of the company. And that's why I chose to invest in Intel initially, because they're going to try to be competitive in all of their product segments, which is something that they just really, really lacked over the last decade. They were not giving any effort because they had no competition. But hey, competition caught up, and now Intel is forced to basically compete or die. And I'm not afraid, that they can't do it, obviously, because they've been leading the market for, decades, right? So I believe that if they do increase their capital expenditures to improve R&D, and of course, even their upcoming products right now look to be very competitive with AMD, we'll find out in about a week or two how competitive they truly are. But from the rumors, it does seem to be that Intel will be very close. And you saw that all their figures were improved, like their revenue, their gross margin was higher than last year. Their earnings per share is much, much higher, which is great. So yeah, I wouldn't really be afraid about Intel, using a lot of capital to build these foundries, because honestly, I think it's a great direction for the company. I'm looking at this as a 5-10 year investment. I'm not looking at this as a 1-year investment. So I wouldn't advise anybody to get into Intel unless you're looking at it from a 5-10 year perspective, just because it's going to take some time for this company to turn around and for the sentiment to turn around about the stock. So because it dropped massively today, we added 2 more shares under $50, and we got our average price down to $52.54. It's about 4.98% of the portfolio. So I just saw the price tank 11%. It just got me so excited. I love seeing my stocks go down, which is kind of funny to hear someone say, but honestly, that is how you make a great return in the long run, is when you get a great deal. And I think Intel is a great deal right now. You just have to be patient on them to turn around the company, because they are trying to do things they haven't done in a long time. But I do believe that with Pat Gelsinger, being the former CEO of VMware, he laid out how he is a CEO. He tries to lay out a plan. He tries to meet expectations or beat them. So realistic goals that they can achieve. And it just looks like he's laser focused on leading Intel into the future. And that's why I'm invested in it. I fully believe in the plan that they have going forward is going to lead this company into a much brighter future than investors think it is today, just because the sell-off is completely ridiculous. And even the RSI, which is the relative strength indicator of the stock, just suggests that it is being oversold right now, because it is in the 30 range. And usually that means that the stock is being completely oversold. And a high would be like over 70, but in this case, Intel would be in the low range. So I think that you can't really go wrong, and especially this is a great entry point. I'm really excited about averaging down. If Intel goes even lower, I'll buy more. So no fear here. Just got to buy the dip and be greedy when others are fearful. And we also purchased a bit of Alimentation Couche-Tard today, so we are up to 5 shares of this, just because the price dipped a little bit below our average price. And I also wanted to raise up the weight a little bit, just because I think a bit under 3% is a little low for this. And that's all I did for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, I am also buying all these stocks on Wealthsimple Trade. So you can buy any Canadian stock or ETF with no commissions. You can also buy a lot of stocks fractionally. Like Intel is fractional and Kushtar is also fractional. You can buy them. And if you join my link in the description, I believe you get one free stock. All right, have a good day.